Hey friends, so in this new and fun series, I'm going to be answering your questions on anything and everything. In addition to the messages and emails that you all have sent in, I also asked over on Instagram for your questions about recovery, about life, about anything really. So once a week, I'm going to be answering them over on Patreon. So this is a quick little preview. And I'm really excited about it, and I hope you are too. So let's do it. Let's jump right into it. First question. Do you still have bad days mentally dealing with Ed, even though you're recovered? I think, quite honestly, being in recovery from an eating disorder or not, everyone has bad days. You know, everyone has days where they wake up on the wrong side of the bed or they just don't feel confident. I mean, that's completely normal. And yes, absolutely, I have days where I struggle with my body image or feeling like I'm good enough. You know, I've shared that the mental recovery from an eating disorder is more difficult than the physical because you're having to shift a mindset that was so ingrained and a belief that was so firmly held that it literally drove you to self-destruction. So yeah, that's difficult to overcome. And every day I have to wake up and choose to listen to the good, to choose to listen to God's truth that I am enough, that I'm precious and worth loving. And absolutely there are days when choosing to listen to that good is more difficult than others. But I think that what this question is really asking is if I have days where I miss my eating disorder. And that's an absolute no. You know, I think when I was just starting out in my recovery and still battling the demons of truly wanting to live a recovered life, that sadly, yes, I missed my eating disorder. I felt foreign in my new body and I was just craving that familiarity and comfort that I had dysfunctionally sought in my anorexia. But today, I can confidently say that I do not miss my anorexia. Never. You know, I think back to the destruction that this caused my life, my family, my faith, my body. I think of how alone I was for 2 years, never answering a phone call, never returning a text, just isolating myself from my friends. And I think of that and how I nearly died. I mean, the hell that I put my body and my loved ones through, I will never, ever do that again. And not to mention that life now is absolutely incredible without that damn eating disorder. You know, I'm free to be me, to be goofy, spontaneous, to have close relationships, to date, you know, to be in the moment and experience true joy and happiness. I have passions and goals and dreams again, all of which were robbed by the eating disorder. So hell no, I do not miss my eating disorder. Okay, next question. Have you ever fallen from your faith at any time? How or who helped you stay close to God? I've never fallen from my faith, but I've definitely gone through seasons where I've felt more distant or that my faith isn't as alive as I'd like it to be. You know, obviously during my anorexia, though I never renounced God, I had completely blocked him from my mind so that I could just focus on my eating disorder. I mean, I still would go to church the whole time, and when I was there, I would just be thinking about exercising or about how I would have to eat communion and then go into a mental tailspin about that. But what helped me stay close to God since then has honestly been surrounding myself with fellow believers to keep me accountable and to inspire and encourage me along my faith journey. And quite frankly, this blog has played a huge part in that. You know, especially living in New York, being a person of faith can be really isolating. And so having people who are walking the same road, who I can lean on in times of dryness or distance, has made a huge difference. And also making small choices that impact my connection with God, like listening to Christian music on Spotify or sermon podcasts. Father Mike Schmitz is a great one if you're looking for incredible Christian content. I mean, seriously, he rocks. Also, the Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey, Do Something Beautiful with Leah Darrow, and Among the Lilies with Cameron Fradd. Filling your mind with things that point towards Christ makes a huge difference. And also going to daily mass. Okay, advice on having boundaries with guys. Okay, this is such an important question, especially in this day and age where hookup culture is the norm. And believe me, living in New York, I know all about what guys expect from ladies, even on first dates nowadays. So my advice is to be very choosy. No, but for real, go where the type of guy you want to date hangs out. Because I promise you, you're going to find different types of guys at, say, volunteering at an animal shelter or at a Big Brother program or church than, say, at a nightclub with half-dressed women performing burlesque on the sides, which, yes, there are plenty of bars like that in New York City. And I've been to them. I mean, not to say that you can't meet a great guy at a sports bar or out with his friends on a Friday night, but that's step one. Meet them where the good guys hang out. And then in terms of boundaries, I think communication is key. I mean, when you talk to me, it's very clear that A, I have a faith, and B, I demand to be respected by men. I don't have to spell it out like I'm not going to sleep with you, although I have had to tell guys that I wouldn't be going home with them. And then you just don't hear from them again. And that's fine. I mean, those are not the types of men you want to be dating anyway. The men who respect your boundaries are the men you want to be investing in. Period. And then just practically speaking, don't put yourself in situations where the near occasion of getting too intimate is a reality, which is really tricky dating as a young adult because now people have their own apartments. And so going to a guy's apartment alone, there's just a lot more complication that surrounding introduces. So stick to public places when you're first starting out until you're comfortable enough to have a real conversation about what your expectations are boundary-wise in the relationship. Because that's the thing. Both of you are on a team, and best case scenario are wanting to maintain that same purity boundary. So if you're communicating about that, then you can both be actively trying to protect that boundary together. And then also pray about it. You know, never underestimate the power of prayer. Lastly, how did I get to where I could run a half marathon? Okay, this is funny because I was never intending on doing a half marathon in the first place. I only signed up because my friend wanted to do it and needed a running partner. But I didn't train. Like, I didn't change my lifestyle. I just woke up one morning and did it. And if you read my blog, you will know that I did it on 90 minutes of sleep because I was out at a friend's birthday party until 4 a.m. the night before, and I had to be in Brooklyn by 6:30 a.m. to start running. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that. But okay, clearly I've had quite the tumultuous relationship with exercise in my recovery, and so I am very diligent about keeping that relationship in check and maintaining a healthy boundary with too much exercise. So I typically just lightly jog for 30 minutes a day or take a nice walk, but always and only for enjoyment. You know, I listen to a podcast or some music, and I just enjoy moving the body that God gave me. And if I'm not enjoying it, I don't do it, period. So there we go. That's the first installment of our little Real Talk chat sesh. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. And again, these will be a weekly installment over on Patreon, which I will link down below. And if you have a question that you'd like me to address, feel free, please, to shoot me a DM over on Instagram. My handle is at BeautyBeyondBones with dots in between, and I'll answer it in next week's video. So thank you so much for watching. I had a blast doing this. I hope you did too, and I'll see you next time.